Hey, what's up? This is Sully from Godsmack. Strap on those boots, baby, because you are now in the trenches of the war room with the one and only Mistress Carrie right here on the Mistress Carrie podcast.
What's up? This is Joe Rogan, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Her hair so lovely, pretty eyes.
Hey, this is Brent from Shinedown, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie. Hey, Carrie, go put your bra on, girl.
Hey, this is Steven Tyler, and you be listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
What's up? This is Aaron from Stain, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, and you're listening to the one, the only Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is David from the band Disturbed, and you're listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
Hi, Bruce Dickinson here from Iron Maiden. Yes, indeed, Miss Whiplash herself, Mistress Carrie, is here to unchain your brain.
Hi, this is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You're listening to Mistress Carrie.
This is Dennis Leary. You are listening to my favorite, Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is Corey from Stone Sour, and you have the privilege of listening to Mistress Carrie.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's Mistress Carrie, reporting for duty from MCHQ for episode 259 of the Mistress Carrie podcast. And before we get to this week's guest, Gary Hoey, I want to remind you that, yes, I am still on the radio. Go to MistressCarrie.com, click the Mistress Carrie radio show, and then you can find out all of the stations that you can find me. You can also read my blog, check out my concert calendar, and shop in the online Mistress Carrie store. My guest this week is guitarist Gary Hoey, who's celebrating the release of his new album, Avalanche. He's also hitting the road this summer. He's going to be in Franklin, Massachusetts, part of their 4th of July celebration, which, by the way, is free. Friday night, August 22nd, he's going to be celebrating his birthday bash at the Bull Run in Shirley, Mass. And on Saturday, August 23rd, his birthday bash continues at Taffeta in Lowell, Mass. Get the details and the links to get tickets to all of that. Just go to the show notes of this episode. Gary Hoey has been a longtime friend, and I am so excited to finally get him on the Mistress Carrie podcast. So allow me to introduce you to Gary Hoey. Mr. Gary Hoey, how are you?
I'm doing really good. It's great to see you and hear you.
It's good to see you too. I haven't seen you in a while. You look great.
Thank you so much. You do too. I just saw you. I was scrolling through some social media and I saw you hanging out with Pat Badger somewhere. You ran into him at a show.
At AC/DC. I bumped into him in line at the concession stand.
I know, that was so awesome because I saw you guys together and I love you both. And then all of a sudden I saw you on my list to talk to today and I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah, it was so random that I'm literally walking through the concourse at Gillette and I bumped into Pat Badger. And we were joking because AC/DC gave no free tickets to anybody on this tour. There were no comps. And so Pat and I were joking that we both bought our tickets. And we were both like, we're not missing this show. I don't care if I have to buy tickets. Like, I don't care what I have to do.
Right, exactly. You're going because you want to go, and to run into each other with thousands of people is crazy.
Yeah, it was hilarious. I'm so excited to talk to you because you have so much going on. Your new album, Avalanche, your first album in 6 years, which for you and for me, 6 years ago, our lives were very different 6 years ago.
So different. So different. 6 years ago, I was doing really good 6 years ago. I had some money in the bank. Like, I don't know, I was just coming out of a good time financially. And then COVID hit. And I jokingly one day said to my wife, I said, what if I couldn't ever tour anymore or couldn't go on the road? And all of a sudden we couldn't really tour anymore. And so, yeah, I just had to spend what money I had to survive. And then I went through that period of taking care of my mom because my mom was in her mid 80s and I became her caretaker. And then she passed a couple of years ago. And then my sister passed, my younger sister passed from cancer like 4 months before my mother. So that whole COVID, then losing my folks and my family members sent me into like a creative tailspin. And now I'm back 6 years later.
Well, the same thing kind of happened with me because AAF got sold right before COVID. And then right after that happened, I found out that my mom had been diagnosed with early onset dementia and Alzheimer's, and she just passed in December. So when I saw that I was going to talk to you, there are so many similarities to the struggles you and I have had over the last 5 to 6 years that coming out of it now for both of us, it's like a whole new world.
It is. It's like a whole new world. It's, you know, and a lot of people in this season of their lives know what we're talking about, whether you're taking care of an elderly person, you lost your parents, and I'm sorry for your loss as well.
I'm sorry for yours. It's so awful.
Yeah, it's awful. And and I think that, you know, I talked to a lot of people, especially with this album coming out. We've been talking a lot because I have a song called Dear Mama that I wrote for my mom. And I think that, you know, what I've learned is I haven't got over my sibling and I haven't got over my mom, but I've learned to live with again, and I've learned to live with it, but not get over it. And I'm happy. I'm definitely happy again, and found my passion, I guess.
It's a very shared human experience, right? That's the way it's supposed to go. That our parents are supposed to let us take care of them, and then we are supposed to lose them. That's how it's supposed to work, but it doesn't make it any easier. Like this year is the first Mother's Day without my mom, and it's just weird living in a world without your parents. It's weird.
Yeah, it is. There's so many moments where you go, oh, I just want to tell mom about this, or I want to ask mom advice on this, or I'm not feeling good. My mom makes me feel good. And before I lost my mom, I used to see people all the time make comments on Facebook, you know, or Instagram, you know, I'm having such a hard time without my mom. And I don't mean to be callous, but I didn't understand at the time.
You can't understand. It's not callous. You just can't imagine it until it happens to you.
Exactly. You can't. So, and people would say to me, oh, hug your mother tight, hug her tight. And I'd be like, well, okay, you know, and I just didn't understand the full length of it. But, you know, if you take what our parents gave us, you know, and my mom, my sister, I know that they want me to be happy and they want me to live and they want me to continue to doing what I do. So when I found the strength to get this record done, I felt like I could tell my story in some of the songs. And that's why I called the record Avalanche, because I felt like I got hit one after another and I wasn't going to see the light of day unless I kept fighting. And that's why this record, I got back to my rock roots, I think because of what I went through.
It's really weird how those kinds of things happen, right? You never just have one thing go wrong. It is an avalanche where a bunch of things go wrong at the same time. For me, in 8 weeks, AAF went off the air, COVID hit, I found out about my mom's diagnosis, and I got word that my boyfriend, now husband, was getting deployed to the Middle East for at least a year. And that all happened in 8 weeks, and it was like, You feel like you're trying to get out of the ocean, and every time you try, another wave comes and knocks you back down again. Coming out of that, right, where you keep expecting another wave and it doesn't come, and you're allowing yourself to be happy, is a really weird thing, and it takes a while to kind of stop looking over your shoulder, expecting the next bad thing.
Yes, absolutely. And you're right. And everybody can relate to this. It's when you're having a bad day, and like one thing after another, just you come outside, there's a flat tire, and then you have no internet or whatever it is, you know, and it keeps going. But try having bad year, you know, bad 2 years, bad 3 years, like we did, and other people. That's when you have to dig within yourself, and you find these little victories, and you know, and you find ways of staying positive, especially for the people around you. You know, like I always post on my social media, you know, get up and walk, drink your water, stay hydrated, because I took care of my mother and I saw just walking and drinking water, how much it helped her. So I'm trying to promote more health to people, because as we get older, and it helps with depression too. Like I would get on the treadmill, I'd go for a walk and I'd kind of sweat out. And sometimes I'd be crying literally while I was walking because I had to get my emotions out. And then I felt better after. And then also connecting with our friends. There's a song on my album called Unstoppable, and it's about us being unstoppable together, because everybody thinks we're unstoppable alone, and oh, that guy did this and that lady did that, but really it's the people around us that give us the strength. So I'm just reminding people, you know, to do it together as a unit.
And it is okay to ask for help and to say, I'm not okay today. And for people that are strong, you know, headstrong minded like you and I are, to have to admit that you're having a hard time or to have to ask for help from someone else, nobody wants to do that. And when you have to do it, it's very humbling.
Yeah, it is. And people should ask for help with their family and at least talk about it. When you talk about my sisters, I lost one of my sisters. I have 3 sisters still with me. And sometimes we forget to talk about my sister and my mom. And that's not good. We need to talk about them and share stories. And you and I are similar because I can tell, you're a very strong person. I'm a very strong person. And sometimes I think I'm Superman. And when I was going through this, I thought I could handle it all. Don't anybody worry about me. I got it all. And then you realize you can't handle it all. You're broken inside and you're trying to stay strong, but you have to find those ways of rebuilding yourself. And like I lost I call it mojo. I don't know. I couldn't play guitar right. I was a robot. I never felt like that in my life. And then I got back this passion, and I hate to say it, but I had to let go of the sadness I was carrying or whatever and put it somewhere else for a minute,
It's like you have to give yourself permission to be happy, because if you allow yourself to be happy again, there's like a part of your stupid brain that tells you that somehow you're not doing justice to mourning your mom or your sister, that like it's not okay for you to be happy because you lost them and you're supposed to be sad all the time. And like you said earlier, they want us to be happy.
They do. And losing a parent, especially someone in their mid 80s, you think, oh, that's normal. You're supposed to be okay with that. You're supposed to normalize that. It still hurts, because you lose your parent.
Yeah, of course.
But losing a sibling, that's the one that every day me and my sisters have a hard time with, because she's supposed to be growing old with us and she's supposed to have everything with us. And that didn't happen. So those ones are more difficult. And I think, again, we have to just look at the positives, look at the time we had, and live in my sister's honor and represent her. And that's what, again, makes me happy. I can find some happiness.
I'm so glad. Like, I only have one sister. And I was so grateful to have her with me to go through taking care of my mom, because I don't know how I would have done it alone. And in a really weird way, her and I are closer because of that shared experience. And so you kind of have to be grateful for that too, that I think it would make my mom so happy to see how close my sister and I are now.
Yeah, exactly. And her passing made you guys realize the importance of family and bringing you together. And the same thing with us, my sisters. We all took turns taking care of my mom, and it was a very heartwarming experience. As hard as it was, I cherish that we were all there right to the end with her.
I love the fact that you have made this album a family affair, because your son is on it, your niece is on it. I always ask artists if they believe musical ability is learned or genetic, and obviously there's some Hoey genetics going on.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much talent with the kids coming up in my family. My son is a monster guitar player, and my niece, when she came in the studio, we both looked at each other. We sang on Dear Mama, which is the tribute to my mom, and she lost her mom, who's my sister. And it was the first time we both looked at each other's eyes and said, we both lost our moms. And I just, I wasn't expecting to live through that with my niece, but we took it as a celebration and we sang it with everything we had. And it's just, it means the world to me. And I think the future of rock and roll, the future of music for our kids, passing it on. And I see other artists doing it, Neil Sean and many other artists out there have young kids that are talented, and that's I think exciting for me, because I worry about classic rock dying away. Like, where's the next future of rock and roll? But these kids are so talented. I think it's going to be good.
Did you learn from other musicians before you and your family, or are you the first musician?
Well, my mom was like a dancer and a singer, and she was kind of an entertainer growing up, but never really played instruments. And so I was the first one to kind of really embrace it and take it to this level. And I invested a lot of time in my son to make sure he would play music if he wanted to, and he loves it. And my niece comes by the studio all the time, and with him they write songs together. So you have to invest. I don't care what you do. If you make leather bags, teach your kid how to make leather bags, man. Like, pass on your passion to your kids. Even if they don't do it, teach them how to do it. I always said to my son, music is in your blood. I'm not forcing to you, but it's in your blood.
I'm so envious of that, because it is so not in my blood. I got none of those genes.
Well, you know what? Music, you play music that makes people happy. So you're connected to music. You support musicians like myself. So you're actually an integral part of music, is more than you know.
Well, I appreciate that, but the musical talent, I got none of that.
Come on, I don't know if is my guitar coming through. Hold on. Can you hear it?
No.
Okay, hold on. Let me click this button. Sometimes it's this. Okay, it might come through now. Anything?
Oh yeah.
So I should teach you Peter Gunn or something like. Start off simple.
I always talk to guitarists on the show about tone because every guitarist is like a fingerprint. And when I talked to Slash, I told him that he had one of the most recognizable tones in all of rock and roll. And he was like, that means a lot because guitarists are always on the search for the perfect tone. Where do you think your tone comes from?
Well, I've learned, and that's a good point to say, I've learned over the years, more of the tone comes from these little diddly things called fingers. You can have 10 different amps, and then you could have Jeff Beck, Slash, Eddie Van Halen, God rest his soul, and they would all sound exactly like them. And when I toured with Jeff Beck, I was backstage. He was playing through a little amp. But I think it's in your hands, and like if I play like the new single riff, Avalanche, it goes... When I play that riff, I think of Led Zeppelin. I think of all the AC/DC, and I think of how I would play one of those songs and how you feel and how the touch would be. If you did like a Led Zeppelin, or if you did like an AC/DC, like the way that they hit the guitar, they're not hitting it as hard as everybody thinks. You got to finesse it a little bit. But if you're playing like a Van Halen, you got to have a little bit more of a attack to it.
Who was the guitarist that inspired you to want to pick it up in the first place?
I started playing guitar in the 70s. And my sister was dating a guy who played the guitar, and he started playing at the kitchen table. And that was when I was hooked, when I saw the guitar in front of me. But what made me want to really play was hearing Tony Iommi, Black Sabbath, in the 70s, when I heard stuff like, it just sounded so scary. Or stuff like Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath and stuff. It was like pure adrenaline.
Well, this year is their final show. 55 years. They're going to get on stage one more time. Ozzy's going to play one more time. I've been talking to so many musicians because it's impossible to imagine rock and metal without Sabbath and Ozzy.
Yeah, it's the foundation. It's the core of everything. For me, they were my favorite band growing up. And when I auditioned for Ozzy in the was it the late 80s? Yeah, late 80s. I auditioned for Ozzy, and it changed my life. Like to be in a room with him and have him sing right in front of me, and encouraged me to move to Los Angeles. And I signed with Warner Brothers Records, and I found a manager. Like I never would have. I don't think I would have had the confidence in myself that I got at that young age if Ozzy didn't tell me, you sound pretty good.
Wow, that's crazy. Just those words from Ozzy changing the trajectory of your life.
Well, he told me to move to LA, and I moved to LA. I packed up everything I had, and I got in a U-Haul, and I drove to LA because of Ozzy, and I started beating the pavement. And when he came on WBCN on a radio tour looking for a guitarist, he was doing a national tour, and I was home, and I heard him on the radio. I knew it was him, and he said, "I'm looking for a guitar player." I called WBCN hotline, I literally threw the phone down on the floor, and I went like this. And I started playing Ozzy over the phone, just going like. And the guy on the phone said, "There's somebody on the phone that wants to audition. He sounds pretty good." And they literally took my address, they took my information down, and I got a call, and they said, "Send a demo tape to this address." And I literally sent a cassette tape, and I got a call, and I got flown to LA. I got in a limousine, drove around Sunset Boulevard. I'd never been to California, and I show up, Ozzy's there. I walk in a hallway, there's like all these guitar players with long hair and black leather jackets, and I can't even believe it actually happened. It's still, to tell the story, sounds like a dream.
So crazy. That
happened, but my life, it was the destiny of just getting to play for Ozzy for a second. It made me realize I had what it takes. I can do this.
That's nuts. Well, this year you're marking the anniversary of Ho Ho Hoey, 30 years. I can't believe it.
I know. Can you believe 30 years ago I started playing... I started playing Mean One Mr. Grinch or something.
That's so nuts. And you're touring with Lou Gramm. Like, talk about rock royalty.
Yeah, it's amazing. Touring with Lou Gramm and playing literally one hit after another, and hearing his voice, that classic voice is so amazing. And Carrie, the funny thing is, 30 years ago, I opened up for Foreigner when I first was breaking into the business 30 years ago, and I had that song, you know. Hocus Pocus. And I was touring with Foreigner as the opening band, and here's 30 years later, I said, "Lou, do you remember 30 years ago I opened up for you?" And blah, blah, blah. And he looked at me and he's like, "Too much weed, dude." He goes, "Too much weed, coke, and booze between then. I don't think so."
I was so happy to see those guys get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yes, that was awesome. It was way overdue, everybody feels. And
agreed.
I'm really happy about that. And Lou seems excited, and, you know, he's been doing some dates with Foreigner, and I'm really happy that he got that. It's
so good to see you. Like, I know how I've been feeling the last 5-6 years, and the roller coaster that I've been on, and to know that someone's been on a similar journey, and to see you coming out of it with a new album with Lita Ford on it, and your son and your niece, and to be out on the road and just back in a big way makes me so happy, because I know exactly what you've been going through, and life is hard, man. So I'm so happy for you.
Well, I appreciate that so much, and the same thing to you as well. I'm happy for you that you're doing what you love, and you're moving forward in a good way, because you know, we have to, man. I mean, there was some days, there was some months when I wanted to hide in the shadows. Like, I didn't want to be Gary Hoey out front. I didn't even want to. I didn't want to be seen. I didn't care. That I was happy for other people succeeding, but I just didn't want to succeed. I'm like, I'm just going to humbly sit over here. And I did enough work to feed my family, but I didn't feel anything. And I said, you know what, enough of that. And I still kept posting positive things online every day, even though I wasn't feeling it. I was still trying to feel it.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
No, but sometimes you got to talk yourself into being happy, because it's hard.
Yeah, you do. Exactly. Like they say, if you write it down, it'll happen. If you say it, it'll happen. So I just kept saying, stay positive, and finding reasons to. And and my son and my family is plenty of reasons, and my fans who love me, and you.
I love that you're debuting the new album at home in Derry, New Hampshire, and you're going to be in York, Maine at the Country Blues Fest on August 16th, and you're going to be ringing in July 4th in Franklin, Mass at the big 4th of July celebration. So you're going to be all over if people want to come and see you. You got a whole tour. So even if you're listening to me outside of Massachusetts right now, you can go to GaryHoey.com, check out all of the tour dates, and come and see you. And Avalanche is out now.
Yes, it is. I'm so excited to see everybody and very excited to see you and hang with you today. This has been awesome.
It's been so good to see you, Gary. Congratulations on the new record. And once again, my condolences for your mom and your sister. I hate being able to say that I know how you feel. But I'm so happy that, things are moving forward.
I appreciate that so much. And my condolences to you as well, and anyone out there that has gone through it. We just want you to know you're not alone.
Absolutely. I'll see you soon. It was so good to see you.
You too, my friend. All the best.
Bye, honey.
Bye. Love you. Take care.
There he is, guitarist Gary Hoey. His new album, Avalanche, is available everywhere. And if you want to check out some of the songs, just click the link for this episode's corresponding playlist in the show notes. I make a playlist for every full-length episode of the Mistress Carrie podcast that features all of my guest music and all the artists and songs that we referenced in the interview. You're also going to find links to get tickets to all of Gary Hoey's Massachusetts appearances this summer. And if you need more Gary Hoey, all of his links and all the Mistress Carrie links are there as well. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to like, follow, share, and subscribe to the Mistress Carrie podcast. New episodes come out every Wednesday, plus every weekday you get the sit rep. The Situation Report breaks down all of your rock news, music headlines, and entertainment updates in around 5 minutes. And you never know when we're going to release a bonus episode. Join me live every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern for my weekly streaming video show, Cocktails in the War Room, on my official Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. And you can always find me on the radio. Get the details on all of that and more at MistressCarrie.com. The Mistress Carrie podcast, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network.